Welcome to the Intercessor's Corner, where life's questions and topics are met with biblical truth and spirit-led wisdom. Here's this week's word to fuel and fortify your prayer walk. Today, I want to talk about how God still delivers. And the text that I'm coming from is Psalms 34, 17 through 18. And I want to address it from the angle that sometimes there are moments in life when the weight of what we're carrying feels too heavy to lift. Life situations, whether they're financial, emotional, relational, sometimes they get really overwhelming, and sometimes they're all connected and blend in, so much so that we can't tell from one or the other which is coming first because they're all coming at us so fast. But the beauty of deliverance is this. God never intended for us to carry what he came to remove. He didn't say that we wouldn't go through it. But what we often forget is that he's right there with us to bring us out and to walk through with us to the end. Deliverance is not just about breaking outward chains. It's more so about those emotional and mental chains. It's about freeing the mind, the heart, and the spirit. God, when we allow him to come into our situation, he delivers us from patterns, whether those patterns are things that were taught to us or that we got ourselves into. Those negative destruction patterns that can cause us chaos and sometimes physical or emotional or even spiritual detriment. It's those fears, whether rightly based or not, that say you can't, you won't, you're not. It's the addictions. The addictions, whether they're sexual or food addictions or anything that we cannot break ourselves from. Maybe it's a shopping addiction. Maybe it's addiction to sex. It's often those things that if we were truthful, we would say we could stop at any time. But no, we really can't. And it takes God's power to break us free. And this one right here, we don't even think about, but is a big one. Let's talk about toxic soul ties. Now, these right here, they're not just from people that we may have slept with or had sexual relationships with. They can be emotional ties. Maybe you didn't sleep with the person, but you allowed yourself or allowed them to come into those sacred places of your heart that is granted or should have been given to someone that had that right stance, only to find out that they drained you of your joy, your peace, or even pulled you away from your love of God. And that leads to the next one, because when you don't have a healthy tie with somebody emotionally, you're always going to have some spiritual battles. And all of that is going to drain your strength, mind, body, and soul. And sometimes will leave you even suicidal. But remember, God says, I come that you have a life and have it more abundantly. You may even be walking through something right now that feels impossible to escape. Maybe you're in a relationship that you thought this person was going to marry you or they would be there forever, only to find out that not only are they not doing that, but they are being abusive, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Maybe you're in a friendship relationship and the person just always comes and never has anything positive to say. Or you're trying to move forward spiritually and they don't have the faith to believe that God in you can take you where it is that God wants to. But the important thing to remember here is wherever you are, deliverance is not based on your power. That's what I want to leave here, is that it's not based on your power. because if you could have done it, it would have been done by now. It's based on His. When He tells us to cast our cares upon Him because He cares for us, it's because He already knows and knew before we were created the problems and the challenges that we were going to be facing, and that we would need Him to get us through it. Now, you may be asking, well, God, why did you even allow us to go through it? Well, that's a topic for another day, but let's just put it under it's life. But let's remember also that when you and I cry out, God hears us. He's our Father. He cares about us. And like a good parent, He's going to reach up and restore us and keep us close and give us the wisdom and the guidance that we need. Now, for those of you who may not have had a healthy parental experience, I pray that God would come in and restore your heart and heal those broken places. But also remember that God is not like man. He is the perfect parent, and He is actually the template to which a parent should follow and adhere to. And when we don't, then there's negative consequence to that. So remember, when you are feeling broken, or even if you're feeling broken right now, know that God wants to draw you near. He says, come to me, all of you who are burdened and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Know that you don't have to feel trapped. Why? Because God has promised deliverance, and Jesus has promised that when you trust Him, He's the way, the truth, and the life. Thank you for joining me in the Intercessor's Corner. If today's word encouraged you, be sure to subscribe to Divine's podcast so you'll always be fueled for your weekly prayer walk.